All right, folks, so as Jamaica moves closer towards becoming an independent republic, well, I think we're moving closer to that, the conversation of reparations has been, once again come to the surface. Opposition spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade, Lisa Hanna, zooms in now to discuss this. Morning, Member of Parliament. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine. Good morning, Neville. Good morning, Simone.
Hi there,
Great to
madam.
have you with us this morning.
Thank you.
I guess people think they know, but when you say reparations, what are you talking about? What's reparations?
I know it seems like a fantasy, and I think Jamaicans are a little confused sometimes about what exactly reparations means. I think they think it means just a whole forgiveness for the atrocities of slavery. That's only one aspect of it. The reparations looks to a crime against humanity, a significant crime against humanity, genocide, how colonizers actually ripped our countries and our people from Africa, and how they continue to goad our economies. And even after slavery, after 300 years, for another 100 years, they continue to take the raw materials out. And so what reparations seeks to do is to address some of those issues and to put them squarely on the table of the UK government to say, look, this has happened. Jamaicans should also recognize that other countries have paid reparations. For example, Germany paid reparations to Holocaust victims. When Israel was being formed, they paid $7 billion when that country was being formed so that it could help to establish a modern society. To date, the Caribbean has not received anything for the kinds of genocide, crimes against humanity, the dislocation of people from Africa, and that has led to real systemic inequality and the lack of equity in many of our societies over time. So CARICOM has a 10-point reparations commission. When I was Minister of Youth and Culture, we had our own Jamaican commission, and we sat on that commission as well for CARICOM. And it has a 10-point plan that looks at healthcare, because Jamaicans also need to recognize that the Caribbean has the highest incidence of type 2 diabetes and hypertension. And that is traced all the way back to how slaves were fed and what has happened in our DNA and how our diets have evolved to only like eating certain things. It goes to museums and the need for technical transfer for our cultures and our people to understand the crime that was committed. It looks at debt cancellation. It looks at an apology from the United Kingdom and from colonizers as to how colonialism really destroyed many of our societies. That is what reparations is.
Let me jump in here, because Prince William would have made his remarks when he was here recently, referring to slavery as abhorrent. It should never have happened. But the apology part of it, you think, was it there or was it not quite there? Did he go far enough in denouncing?
No, he didn't. He did not go far enough. And I used that, well, certainly before I wrote an op-ed in The Guardian, which basically looked at the fact that royal regrets have very little, because it doesn't placate us, and neither do words without actions. What we need are actions. People need to recognize that there has to be some form of atonement. Condemning a system without saying, okay, we have condemned it, here's what we're actually going to do to address the historical wrongs and reset the future going forward. It's flowery, it's beautiful, but I think the Prince has a unique opportunity, and it's a tipping point for him. And I think he needs to look at this Caribbean visit as a way to reshape his own leadership coming after, and his ascendancy coming after his grandmother, and what the world is really looking at for a fairer global society in a time when there's so much more social consciousness. There's so many generations that need to understand where this is coming from. If you bludgeoned a race for 300 years and you witness what is happening around the world with Black Lives Matter, with the kind of inequality that Black people still experience, not only in the United Kingdom, but certainly across the Caribbean in the United States, slavery left an indelible stain, and it continues to harm many people with how racism pervades us.
Sure.
And those things need to be acknowledged,
Yeah.
and there needs to be a public apology for it.
Yeah. Ms. Haney, you mentioned the fact that Germany paid Israel, and some people say, I don't want to.
Holocaust victims.
Yeah. Yeah.
South Africa has also paid reparations. Japan has paid
Yeah.
reparations.
And some people are saying, well, I don't want no apology. I want money. And a lot of people are saying, give us the money. How do you quantify the amount of money, and then who gets it?
Well,
And we're
what
talking about
typically
Jamaica here.
happens-
I'm talking specifically about Jamaica here now.
No, there are ways to quantify those figures based on how much money the plantation owners were paid. Because remember, it wasn't the slaves that were given reparations after the ending of slavery. It was when the plantations collapsed. The slave owners still got reparations for the collapse of their sugar estates and other businesses and their transatlantic trade. So the slaves never got anything. They never left any schools. They never left any hospitals. They never left any kind of systems to build those economies. And furthermore, they kept taking the raw materials out of the country to create the value-added services and products back in the United Kingdom and in other European jurisdictions. So there is a quantifiable figure. I think one of the reasons why they don't want to consider it is because it's a very, very large figure. But also in the 10-point plan, there is debt cancellation. There's ways to look at it. What CARICOM has said is, look, we've done enough of this work. We can't go alone anymore. We need you to take this very, very seriously. We need you to understand that it's going to take very bold leadership. It's going to take bravery and courage. And the world over needs to understand that this has to happen in this century.
So it's not a lack of advocacy on our part. So the ball is squarely in the hands of the folks who are not acting. So how do we move the needle then, is what I guess I want to know. In our lifetime, if at all, ever.
I think it's possible. You know, I'm an optimist and a pragmatist. And I believe that it's never too late for things to happen. What it takes, though, is a transformation of people's beliefs and a teaching, especially of our generations and younger generations, about what this means to their future. And we need to put that public advocacy on the table. We need to teach it in schools. We need to have young people understand their identity, that revolutionary approach that causes them to be courageous and causes them to understand who they are, and to not let anybody else teach us who we are as a people. So it has to have more advocacy, louder voices, more personalities. When Black Lives Matter was started, it is because there was a global corporation to make that thing work. And CARICOM now, with voices like Mia and Gaston and Prime Minister Holness and opposition leaders, all of us need to say and to find the voices in the UK to push it forward. That's what needs to happen, and we have to be unrelenting in that approach. There are 54 countries, I believe, in the Commonwealth. There are 200 million people, for example, in Nigeria, which is a former colony of Britain. We have a lot of people around the world that can vibrate to make this happen. But it's bigger than personalities. This has to be about justice. And unfortunately, sometimes the United Kingdom makes it about personality. So we also have to be clear that the narrative isn't shifted. And some people looked on and said, you know, well, it was a turbulent visit. And I don't look at it that way. I think it was an important visit for the royals. It was an important visit for them to recognize what the monarchy represents in present day reality in the Commonwealth, and to take that and reshape their thoughts and their enthusiasm about changing that system that has also benefited from slavery.
Yep. Final question from me, Member of Parliament, if I may change lanes just a bit. I said at the top that we get closer to removing the monarchy. I'm not certain how close we are. It didn't look that difficult to be done when I saw what Barbados did. What is this something that is going to take 14 years to do, or can we just
No, it has to be done in a year. it can be done very, very quickly. It can be done very quickly, and it should happen very quickly. But in tandem with removing the monarchy, there needs to be a public awareness program that creates those kinds of systems that Simone was speaking about earlier, which is to educate our people. Not only will we have to build a socio-cultural appreciation for all things Jamaican, we need the museums, we need the public awareness advocacy talks, we need our revised curriculum in schools. So removing the monarchy is just one thing. Our laws will have to change because we still have a lot of laws that we are still holding from before we were independent.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that will have to happen even after that. So I think the Prime Minister really should put in place a task force, an oversight task force, of a bipartisan task force, looking at all of the attendant issues that will come. Just saying we're going to separate from the monarchy is the easy part. How do you create a modern country that trades on the global stage, that can hold its own, that is now self-reliant, that understands that if we fall backwards with our eyes closed, no one is going to catch us. They weren't catching us before because we can't get visas to go there. Many of our ordinary people can't. So these are all the attendant issues that we're going to have to look at. I'm supportive, and I've always been supportive of seeing a Jamaican as a head of state and guarding and charting our own future. But it also comes with a significant amount of responsibility. And we have to look to that as well.
Final question from me. The framework of which you speak, the policy framework, does it need to be revisited, updated, amended? Is it there as a kind of map as to how we can move forward? Is it that we just need to take it and dust it off and keep moving? Or where is that framework now?
I don't know. The former Prime Minister, the most Honourable Percival James Patterson, PJ Patterson, wrote an open letter to both the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition, suggesting how that can happen. And perhaps it may be good for your team to take that up, because it's not a hard approach. But you're right, I'm not clear that there is a policy framework in our 60th year of independence and to move it forward. So that's why I'm suggesting that the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition come together. Let's put together a bipartisan task force. Also on that task force should be academia, private sector, the church. Not too big, because sometimes when you have a town hall meeting, nothing gets done. But certainly a very, very strategic task force that looks at education, that looks at healthcare, that looks at how we're going to, in terms of changing our curriculum, what are we going to do to educate our people? How is our economy going to move forward? And really use this opportunity to put forward a new kind of Jamaica that inculcates within our people a transformation, a building of our self-esteem, an understanding that, yes, we punch way above our weight class in the world, but we've never really taken advantage of our brand and who we are as Jamaicans, and use this opportunity to step onto the world stage as a republic and just conquer it.
Good to see you, Member of Parliament. Stay safe. God bless you. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye. Opposition spokesperson on foreign affairs and foreign trade, Lisa Hanna.
Maybe one day we can have a discussion that everyone can know the benefits of being a part of the monarchy and the benefits of not being a part of the monarchy, because I'm not certain. I can remember someone told me one time that when we got independent, we never know how to handle it. And it's like, we're still not independent type of thing. So maybe someone could sit down and really go into everything, because I still can't understand why we're independent, but it's the Queen run the country. That don't make no sense to me. What are some of the ways couples can reconcile after disagreement? We discussed